A very good morning to my dear student. So, hope you are fine and safe. So, today we are going to start our third chapter of our economic. So, whatever we have discussed in our previous class, hope you have understood. So, after this class, I'll be uploading the short question answers of the previous chapter so that you could complete it, and very soon I'll be giving you the notes for those chapter also, as well as the assignment will be also given to you all. So a very best of luck for your question and answer, for your notes, as well as for the assignment. And today we are going with our third chapter, that is types of economies. Types of economies. Let me start. So what are the syllabus? So what we will be learning in types of economies? So we will be learning about meaning, and differences. Just you understand the meaning as well as the difference between them. So what are the meaning we are going to learn, and what are the differences? Okay, about what we are learning. So we will learn about, see it, market economy, or you can say capitalist economy. Next, planned economy or socialist. Planned economy or socialist economy. And at last we will study about the mixed economy. Okay, first we will study about the market economy or the capitalist. Okay, market and capitalist both are same. Then we will study about the planned economy, and at last we will study about the mixed economy. So let us understand the meaning of this. So market economy. What is market economy? Market economy are those economy which are controlled and managed by the private individual, private stakeholders. Okay, the private companies, they come and they manage. It is called as a market economy. Means government interference is very less. The interference of the government is minimum, very less. Okay, the government doesn't interfere much. It is called as a market economy or capitalist economy. Next, planned economy means the production and the management are done by the government. Not the government. Here, the private individual, they don't have any role. The role is performed by the government. Okay. And next is a mixed economy. Mixed economy means where the government as well as the private firm, they both take active participation in the management of the company. Okay. The government and the private stakeholders, they both come together and they take equal participation in the management, distribution, as well as production of the goods and services. Okay, so what we are going to learn? We are going to learn about the capitalist or the market economy. We are going to learn about the planned economy or the socialist economy, and at last we are going to study about the mixed economy. So these are the three main section of this chapter, and we are going to learn the differences. Hope you have understood the meaning. Market economy, it is controlled by the private, okay, private individual or the private stakeholders. Next, socialist or planned economy, it is owned and managed by and controlled by the government. Socialist, owned, managed and controlled by the government. And mixed, owned, controlled, managed by both the private as well as the government stakeholders. Okay, this. Now let us come to the differences. Okay, differences between these three. So let me explain through a chart which I have prepared. Okay, hope it is visible to you all. So whatever is visible, so I will be explaining to you all. Okay. So types of economies, as I have told you, chapter 3. So this is the basis, and this is market economy, socialist and mixed economy. These are the three sections of the market. Our market is divided in this three category: market economy, socialist economy and mixed. Market means capitalist, socialist and mixed economy. Okay. So see here, ownership. Who owns the capitalist economy, socialist and the mixed? So means of production are owned and managed by the private people or the private firm or the private individual or the private stakeholders. Okay, whichever word comes in your mind, you can write that. Okay, all the words are correct. So means of production are owned and managed by private people. Okay, the means of production are owned and managed by the private people, as I have told you before. Next, means of production. MOP means means of production. I have written in the short form. Okay, please follow it. Means of production are owned by the government. Means the government is the only one who will produce the goods, as well as who will manage, as well as control, as well as the government will distribute also. Everything is done by the government himself. Next here, means of production are owned by the state. Owned by the state. As well as, okay, I have written in the short form, as well as private people. Okay. So, means of production are owned by the state as well as by private people. Understood? Ownership. Here private people, here government, here both. Understood? Motive. What is the motive? What is the motive behind the capitalist economy, socialist economy, mixed economy? So motive. So economic activities, EM is economic activities. Okay, economic activities are guided by self-interest and profit motive. Means self-satisfaction is there, self-interest is there. Means you are not doing anything for the help of anyone. Okay, so that somebody will be happy. You want yourself to be happy. And how you will be happy in planned economy? By getting maximum profit. So this is the main motive. Economic activities are guided by self-interest and profit motive. And here socialist. Okay, same. Yeah, economic activities are guided by the social welfare. The main motive of the government is to do the social welfare. Means help the poor people, help the needy one. Okay, help poor, help the needy, help the people of the country in progressing. The main motive of the government means social welfare. And mixed economy, both social as well as profit motive. It is guided by both social motive as well as, okay, profit motive. Social welfare is also there as well as profit motive is also there. Because social welfare, because it is related to the government also, and of course private is also there. Means private will seek for profit as well as there is profit also there. So what are the instruments? What are the instruments used in the capitalist economy? Okay, what are the instruments? So let's see. So all economic problems are solved with the help of price mechanism. Whatever economic problems are there, everything is solved with the help of price mechanism. Now, what is price mechanism? What is price mechanism? Means when the market flows, okay, with the help of free flow of demand and supply in the market. Okay, by seeing the demand and supply in the market, the production and distribution, okay, it goes on. It's called price mechanism. Okay, you see that if the demand is high, then the production will be also high. But if the demand is low, with that time the production, they will reduce the production because the demand for the product is not there in the market. Means it works automatically. The demand and supply in the markets, it works automatically. Okay, nobody is there to control the market. It is the consumer who will control the market. If the consumer like the product, then consumer will demand more. If the consumer dislike the product, then the consumer will not demand. Means it is the consumer's choice. Nobody else will come and say to consumer, yes, you have to purchase this product only, you have to buy that product only, this kind of product only you have to buy. Nobody is there. It is the independent decision of the consumer. Means independent decision, it flows through the demand and supply. And again, it goes to the capitalist economy. By seeing the demand and supply in the market, the producer will produce the goods. So, all economic problems are solved with the help of price mechanism. Next here, all economic decisions are taken by the government, okay, through economic planning. All the economic decisions are taken by the government through economic planning. See here, when the government is formed, okay, the government set up the planning commission. The government set up the planning commission for 5 years. That is called economic planning. Okay, for 5 years the government is formed, and during this time period, what are the work the government is going to do? What are the work the government is going to do, perform? Okay, or perform. So, how the government will do? The government does it through the economic planning. Means a cabinet of ministers, they sit together, okay, and they decide, yeah, these are the work we will perform in these 5 years. So, it is called as economic planning. So, all the economic decisions are taken by the government, okay, with the help of economic planning. So, this is what we say as socialist economy. Next is a mixed economy. See here, price mechanism and economic planning. Yeah, both are there. In private it is price mechanism, and in government it is economic planning. So, in mixed economy, both the thing works. Price mechanism as well as the economic planning. Both the thing works. Next, come to our nature of occupation. Nature of occupation. So, in market economy, there is complete economic freedom. Complete economic freedom is there. Means any firm can come anytime, and they can leave the farm, they can leave the market anytime. It is their will. Okay? If it is running good, then they will run. If it is not running good, they will not run. It is their willing, because they are investing the money. If they are getting ample profit, of course they will stay in the market. If they are suffering a loss, then no doubt they will leave the market and they will go away. So, they are free. Nobody is there to control. Yes, you have to run the business only. If whatever loss you have, anyhow you have to run the business. There isn't exist such kind of situation. In socialist, people are not allowed to start their own business. People, if they are saying that, yeah, I will start my government business. Okay, like railway. If the private company is saying, yes, now I will start my own railway. Can they perform? No, they can't do. Because this decision will be taken by the government only. The government is the only responsible person to start this kind of thing. Other private individual, they don't have the responsibility, or they don't have the legal advice to start the business. Okay, they don't have any authority. So the authority which is there, it belongs to the government in socialist economy. The private authority, they don't have any authority to start any government business. So people are not allowed to start their own business is here, and limited sovereignty. Sovereignty means limited freedom is there. Limited freedom is there because government is also there, private is also there. So private, both government and private, they are in a partnership. So if the private want to do their own business by exploiting the people, the government will stop. No, you are not allowed to exploit the people. You are not allowed to exploit the people much. Okay, so government will stop. And if the government is doing any malfunction, if the government is not working properly, then the private is there. Okay, private is there to look into the eye, to inform the government, yes, you are doing this thing. Okay, it is a fault, it is a mistake. So please carry on with the good deeds, with the hard work. So that's why both mixed in the mixed economy, the private and the socialist, they come together. Okay, with limited freedom. Both they have a limited freedom. Okay. Next, come to a competition. So what is the competition? The market, socialist and mixed economy, they will be facing. See here. So there is free competition. In market economy, there is free competition among buyers and sellers. Okay, the buyer, they are willing to buy. How much they want to buy? They will buy. And the seller, on the basis of the demand, they will produce the goods. They will sell the goods in the market. Okay, they are free. And in socialist, there is no rivalry and competition. Means there is no competition. Opponent is not there. Only who is there? The government is there. The government will fight against the government. No. Only the government himself is the king of the market. The government decides everything. Okay? So that's why there is no competition. And in mixed, there is low degree of competition. Degree of competition is very low. The degree of competition is very low in the mixed economy. Next here. Distribution of income. How the income is distributed among the people. In market economy, large inequalities of income. There is a large inequalities of income. Means richer are becoming richer, poorer are becoming more poorer. Because all the businessmen, all the farms, they are held by the rich people. The poor people, they can't. So the income flows in the hand of the richer people, as well as the other section, they remain the same. Okay, that's why large inequalities is there. Next, inequalities of income and wealth is relatively very small. Means the inequality is very small because here government is there. The government tries every possible level to help the poor and the needy people, and the government tries to decrease the inequalities which is existing in the present economy by giving different kinds of financial help to the people, financial assistance to the people. And in mixed economy, income inequalities are found here. Here also income inequalities are found here, but not much as compared to the market economy. Okay, here it is there in mixed economy, but in a very as compared to this market, it is low, but more than socialist. Okay. Next, we will come to our developed economy and underdeveloped economy. Okay, developed economy. Developed economy are those economy where the people's per capita income is high, the living standard is high. Okay, the education is high, the health system is advanced, the technology is highly advanced. Okay, the education is quite good enough. Okay, the poverty is less, the employment system is very good. Okay, so these are some of the points of developed economy. And in underdeveloped economy, the people's per capita income, it is low, the poverty is high, unemployment is high, the technology is advancing. Okay, technology is advancing, the health system still improving. Okay, health system is still improving. The education system is still in the way of improving. Okay, so these are the 3 points of developed and underdeveloped. So let us see. Okay, through the chart. See here, basis, developed and underdeveloped. So per capita income is high. In developed economy, the per capita income of the people is high. In underdeveloped, the per capita income is low. Per capita income means the people's income. Okay, the per head income of the people. Per capita means the per head income of the people. It is high in developed and it is low in underdeveloped. Occupation. Okay, in here industrial and service sectors dominate. Means in developed economy, means agriculture is very less. The industries and the services are in plenty. Okay, and as well as underdeveloped, agriculture is the main occupation of the people. Okay, agriculture is the main occupation of the people in underdeveloped, and in developed, industries and services are the main occupation of the people. Technology, see here, highly advanced and capital intensive techniques are used. Highly advanced technology they use, and the capital intensive, okay, techniques are used. Okay, means machineries and all. Everywhere you can see the machines, they are doing the work. So highly advanced and capital intensive techniques are used. Okay, here techniques of production are old and outdated. Means the old method of technology are still being used in underdeveloped countries. Okay, productivity of labor is very high. The productivity of the individual labor, it is very high. Why very high? Because they get, okay, training, skill, and they are highly educated. Okay, whatever they do the work by getting well trained. Okay, by getting a very good skill, knowledge, education. That's why what is the production is very high. Actually here productivity of labor is very low. The single labor will produce very low because they are not so educated, they are not well trained, the skill power is very, very low. Okay, and the technology is not so advanced. Because of that, they could not use the technology and all. So this is the reason the productivity is very low. Next here, utilization of resources. So proper utilization of available resources are done here. Whatever resources are there, they use the resources very efficiently so that there won't be any wastage of the resources. Okay, they use the complete resources, but here the resources are not utilized properly. Many are wastage. Okay, why? Because due to the technology, no advanced technology, means they could not exploit much of the thing out of the available resources. Okay, next, population. In developed economies, okay, there are overpopulated. The countries, okay, are not overpopulated. Sorry, I don't overpopulated. It is not overpopulated. The population is very low. The population is very low, but as compared to underdeveloped, the population is very high. Okay, the growth rate of population is very high. Okay, so these are the 6 points. Okay, you can add more point. Okay, like I discussed about per capita income, occupation, technology, productivity, utilization, and population. Okay, you can discuss about the education also. You can discuss about the health facility also. Okay, you can discuss about the standard of living of the people also. Okay, so these are some of the point, okay, of developed and underdeveloped. Next, we will move towards the another difference between. Okay, hope so you have understood the market economy, socialist economy, mixed economy, the developed economy, and the underdeveloped economy. Next, we will move towards the economic growth and economic development. What is economic growth as well as what do you mean by economic development? So, what does economic growth says and what does the development defines? So, we will go to this. So, see here. So, economic growth here. Economic growth, it generally means an increase in national or per capita income, output or income over time. And economic development, it is a process whereby the real per capita income of a country increases over time along with fall in poverty ratio, unemployment and income equality, etc. See here, economic growth, it is the quantitative aspect of the country. Quantitative growth aspect of the country. Economic growth, it increases in the quantity. Okay, like the GDP, gross domestic product, it increases. Yes, it is good. The total production of the country increases. It says about that. Okay, national income, as it is said here, national income or per capita output or income over time, it describes about this. But economic development, it is the qualitative aspect. It is a vast concept. Economic development, economic growth is a narrow concept. Economic growth is a narrow concept, and economic development is a vast concept. Economic growth, it describes the quantitative aspect of the country, and economic development, it describes the quantitative as well as it describes the qualitative aspect of the country. Okay, now let us describe the differences. What are the differences between the two? So, as I told you, economic growth generally means an increase in national or per capita output or income over time. Whatever the income is coming over time, means sum total. Okay, and economic development, it is a process whereby the real per capita of a country increases over time. So here, what do you see? There is a fall in income of the people. Fall in income inequality. Okay, the fall in income inequality of the people. There is a fall in poverty also. Okay, and there is a fall in unemployment of the country. The unemployment, there is a fall. Poverty, there is a fall, and income inequality also, there is a fall. Means the country gradually and slowly they are advancing towards the process of development. If the economic develops, then the country also develops and it progresses towards the country's development. But as compared to economic growth, if the economic grows, then the country will grow, but the economy will not grow. The country will grow, but the economic will not develop. It is that. Okay, see here. It refers to the rise in per capita income, and it is more comprehensive term which includes many qualitative changes as well. It involves rising income, and it involves not only rising income but also reduction of poverty, inability of income and unemployment. See, it carries just a single point. It carries a single point, but it carries here. It involves not only rising income but also reduction of poverty, inequality of income as well as unemployment. See, at a time it carries so many points. It does not indicate economic development. See, economic development is not there. It does not indicate economic development. It signifies economic growth. Yeah, economic development. It signifies economic growth plus qualitative changes of the country. Understood? Economic growth will not lead the country towards the economic development. And economic development will lead the country towards economic growth as well as economic development also. Okay? So, economic growth is a narrow concept. Economic development is a vast concept. Economic growth is it shows the quantitative aspect of the country. Economic development, it shows the qualitative aspect of the country. Economic growth is quantitative, economic development is the qualitative. Plus it shows the economic growth of the country also. If the country grows, then the country doesn't develop. If the country develops, then the country grows also. Okay, that's why economic growth is a narrow concept, narrow means small, and economic development is a vast concept. So, hope whatever is being taught you have understood well and enough. Okay, so thank you for today's lesson.